Hi there, this is Michael Lepage again, and welcome to another CPM Solutions video tutorial on Primavera P6. Today I want to talk to you about another little known activity type called the level of effort activity. What makes this level of effort activity different has to do with the duration. Now let's think about a standard activity like, say, this activity here, B1010, design building layout. Notice this activity actually has a duration of 10 days, which a standard activity, we usually punch in that duration. That's our estimate of how long we expect that activity to take. But occasionally we have situations where an activity maybe doesn't have a known duration. For example, what if I had activity called morning meeting? And that was a meeting that I want to have every morning with my construction crew before they went out. And I'd like to have that activity on my project plan. Well, if I wanted that activity to span the entire duration of the project or a particular phase, maybe the construction phase of the project, what is the duration of that phase or of the entire project? Now, I might know if I have the entire project built or the entire phase is built, but that may also change. So it's unreliable for me to actually hard code a number in there. This is where a level of effort activity can come into play. I can actually create an activity that will grow or shrink dynamically based on the relationships. Let's do one for example here, and we'll see what it looks like. So I'm going to focus on the activities in this building system phase of the project. Just going to move this over a little bit, buy a little bit more screen real estate here. Now I want you to notice the building system phase of the project is 327 days, and it goes from January 2nd, 08 to April 2nd. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create an activity that spans the same duration, okay? And I'm going to actually anchor that activity to pick up the start date of B1000 here, which is the first activity in the list. And then I want to anchor it in the finish to pick up this finish date by that's hanging out here with B1170 of April 2nd. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and create an activity. I'm going to call this activity building overhead costs. Okay, and I'll tell you why later. And again, I'm not going to give it a duration because I want it to figure out the duration on its own. Here's how we do that. We can have a level of effort activity create its own duration through the relationships that it's been assigned. So like I said, I'm going to anchor it here to have a predecessor of B1000, and on the other side I'm going to anchor it to 1170. So think of it like a hammock that's hanging between these two activities. Okay, B1000, B1170. Now, watch what happens when I schedule this project. Oh, I forgot one step. Let's go over here to the General tab, and let's actually make this a level of effort activity. Okay, again, schedule the project. You can see what's going on. And look at that. It automatically mimics, or it automatically stretches itself between the activities that it's anchored to in relationships. Now, this can actually benefit you in a bunch of different ways. Okay, I can also use this activity type for, say, doing something like this. Notice I called this building overhead costs. Well, this is actually a dummy activity, but I want this dummy activity to actually track my overhead costs. Maybe my labor rates are very specific, and I want to be able to have the specific labor rates for each activity, but I want the overhead cost track somewhere as well. So here's what I would do. I'm going to add a resource here. You're going to notice here that I've created a special resource. Just let me change the filter. Okay, and that special resource is right here called overhead costs. Assign him in there. Now, notice the rate is $100, and so I'm going to assume that for 1 hour, for every day, my overhead costs are $100 for all of my crew. I know it's a small number in reality, but over the course of the 327 days, that really gives me $32,000 in overhead costs. Now that's kind of cool. Here's another little feature I might use if I was going to use a level of effort activity to do this. I'd actually apply a resource curve. And a resource curve actually can allocate the resources to come on to ramp up slowly, and then to ramp down slowly as well. Here's an example. Okay, so I'm going to apply a bell-shaped curve here, and the bell-shaped curve essentially will allocate these 327 units in a bell shape over the duration of the 327 days. Let's get a visual on this. Okay, if I go to my resource usage profile graph, again, I'll just scroll this over here for you, make a little bit of room. Here I'm highlighting my overhead costs resource, and you can see that they're actually allocated in the shape of a bell curve. If I hadn't applied that curve, they would strictly be it'd be linear. It'd just be a straight line across here. So here's an example of where you can use a level of effort activity to for activities that need to have dynamic durations. If I extended any of these activities by a couple of days, let's say I extend, you know what, let's do an example here. Let's say I extend this activity by 14 days, up to 14 days. What do you think is going to happen to my level of effort activity? Well, you guessed it, absolutely right. It's going to automatically expand to fill that void as well. That's how you would use a level of effort activity, and you might actually use it for overhead costs or other cost estimate features. I'm Michael Lepage. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Have a great day.